Oh dear. Yes, I'll do a military story just for shits and giggles. That video, Carlos, is about 19 minutes long.
Yeah. Okay.
Video, Carlos, is about 9.
Oh, we are now live on YouTube.
Ah, that's good. If the chat room family could just make sure they can all hear us and etc. Which I should be
Yes,
able
it
to.
sounded fine when I was just listening.
Goody goody. And YouTube is saying that we are in glorious 1080p HD.
Live on the interwebs. Wonderful.
There is an option to put it in 4K, but that might be a bridge too far.
Nobody needs to see my face that well.
Oh, shush, you handsome devil.
The wrinkles will show up then.
We started watching that Kylie documentary on Netflix the other night, and she's aged so incredibly well, hasn't she?
He has.
It's a good documentary, though.
What's that on? Is that on Netflix?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, three parts.
This football match has got me stressed out.
I turned it off as soon as I saw that England were 1-0 down. I just turned it off.
Well, the 2-1 up now.
What?
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh,
And there's 1 minute left of extra time.
Whoa.
Oh.
And the DRC are desperately trying to score another goal here.
Oh.
Do you know, I was down at our medical facility today, down the road, and I was looking. I looked because I got an appointment. I was looking everywhere for Dr. Congo, but he wasn't there. Have I misunderstood something?
Dr. Congo. Wasn't that drink Umbungo?
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
That they used to drink in the Congo.
Yeah. Other
A lovely fruit
continents are available.
Anyone remember Lilt?
The totally tropical taste.
Is that still a thing?
It's like Fanta Lilt now.
Oh.
Mm.
I'm so old. Oh, crikey, is it that time already?
Yeah.
Yeah, clock's going.
Oh, this could be bad.
Right, here we go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 605 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's show, Ryanair have been getting in trouble again. A380s might be cracking up. We discussed that 777 flypast. Emirates have a fancy new pillow, and NASA have been making a thud. In the military news, we hear about disaster relief and landing on ice in the Antarctic. We'll also have another one of our Retro Airline Ads of the week, and this week we go back to the 70s for some AvGeek filth. Join me this week over in his palatial Buckinghamshire residence is our very own audio-visual delight, is of course Neville Bounds.
Yes, good evening, everybody, and hope you are all well. It's warming up again in the UK. Not quite the same temperatures we had last week, which was 36 degrees, which is a bit much by anybody's standards. But I tell you what, though, this week was quite interesting. You never quite know who's listening to the show because you sometimes get feedback and you sometimes see people in the chat room. But of course, many of our listeners download the audio only version of this as a podcast and listen to it. I was at a meeting on Monday. I won't go into any of the details, but I was at a meeting where 20 or so blokes get together to talk about life, the universe, and what have you. And somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, I listened to your podcast. I've been listening to it for the last 5 years or so." And I shan't use his name because he hasn't given me permission to do so. But you know who you are, sir. And thank you very much indeed for saying such nice things about the podcast as well. That was really sweet of you. I'm glad that you enjoy it. And it's helped you, when you've not been able to sleep, for example. And I think a lot of people that I know tune into podcasts when they're unable to sleep, especially the longer form ones. So that was very sweet of you. And thank you very much indeed for listening. We really do appreciate it.
It's always nice to hear, isn't it, Nev? When you sort of find someone who's maybe not watching the YouTube feed on a Wednesday night. So,
yeah,
awesome.
Definitely.
Very good.
So that was good. Yeah.
And also from the home pub in Durham and currently wringing out his renal system after a boozy weekend away in Barker, it's Captain Andy.
You can't read, can you? Barca.
Barca.
As
All
in
right,
Barcelona. Hello again. And thank you for that, Nick. What a lovely intro. I am sweating in here. I'm just sweating the booze out, though. It's because it's very warm in the pub at the moment. I think it's about 32 degrees in here.
Not as bad as last Friday, Andy.
No, it was very warm last Friday, wasn't it? But it's nice to be back on again.
Yeah, good to have you back on as always, Andy. So you had a nice trip to Barcelona.
Barcelona is a lovely place, yes. And we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. And I go away on holiday again next Friday.
It's all right for some. Another trip on an airline, I'm guessing?
Yes, off to Corfu for 10 days.
Oh,
very nice.
Very nice. Well, I look forward to the trip report on that when you get back.
Yes.
Down in the PTUK Southwest studio, it's the resident internet trawler, Nick Codling.
Good evening, Carlos. Nice to be back on again. And good to see a slightly more fuller contingent this week. And it seems like we've got a pretty packed schedule to get through today.
Yes, we have got lots of stories to get through this week, including, as I said, the Retro Airline Ads. Got 2 of those this week, which is a nice treat for you. But it is the beginning of the month. 1st of July. Can you believe it? 1st of July. Never got to say special thanks to some awesome people, haven't we?
We have. And yes, hard to believe it's over halfway through the year, isn't it? Gosh. And so this is the time where we acknowledge all the people that have donated to the show during the last month. And we have to thank Richard Adams, Derek Smith, Bill Aronek, Sam Dawson, Alex Robinson, Dirk S., Sasha Beer, Stephen Ivey, Louis Cachares, Alan White, Stephen Howland, Tanya Wyman, Nicholas Hewitt, Masha Hirtz, Ruben Wells, Neil Landwarn, Graham Haley, Jonathan Warner, Jordan Rose, Andrew Wilson, Captain Jeff, Adam Spink, Liz Piper, Jeff Ward, Stuart Backer, Stephanie Plummer, Carl S., I think he's in New Jersey, John Falk, and Sturman. Those are the people that have donated by Patreon, and the 2 folks that donate by PayPal are Jenny Parkinson and Mazuz Kareem. Thank you, one and all, for your very kind donations once again this month.
Yes, thank you very much indeed to all our Patreon donators and PayPal donators that help us to push the show forward each week, as we do. Going to say hello to everyone in the chat room. Let's go right to the top of the list. And guess who was number 1, Nev?
Oh, it's the consultant from East Anglia.
Yes, Mazouz, number 1 this week in there. Richard Adams, hello to you as well. We've got Nick Codling. Always good to see Nick in there. The lovely Tanya, hello to you as well. Good to see you, Tanya. Grinner is on there. He's in his car now, but he's still tuned in. So hello to you, Grinner, and drive safely. Bill, hello to you as well. Good evening. Richard Adams, make sure I don't miss anyone. I don't think I've missed anyone. No. They're all still dropping in. Big thanks to everyone who's tuned in tonight to the show. Don't forget, if you're listening as an audio show, we're on YouTube Wednesday night, 7 o'clock here, and hit the subscribe icon and the bell icon to be notified when we're live and broadcasting live shows, just like we are right now. Right, so before we kick off with some commercial news, we have got some news for you all this week. And it is with great sadness this week that we must announce that Matt has decided to leave P2K for ventures new. Matt's been with the podcast for nearly 12 years and has been instrumental in the technical success and ensuring all of the right buttons are pressed at the right time. From the early days of the Kitchen Disco and P2K being hosted across a table, we've grown and expanded, and the technical capabilities have grown. Thanks to Matt's unique broadcast experience and passion, he's raised our game and helped bring P2K to a higher level, and we're incredibly grateful for him for that. As many of you will no doubt be aware, Matt is a huge enthusiast of radio and broadcasting, and in recent years he's taken on a great deal more responsibility and ownership for the technical operation of a local radio station. This has been a huge passion, one which sadly means he has now felt it's time to say goodbye to P2K. So from all of the team here at P2K, we'd like to thank Matt profusely for all his hard work and dedication to helping make P2K what it is now, and we wish him all the very best in his future endeavours. So there we go. Right, team, I'm going to hand it over to you, Nev, to introduce while I press the right buttons, hopefully.
Yeah, I'd just like to acknowledge Matt's massive contribution as well, not just from a technical point of view, but I've enjoyed working with him on the outside broadcast that we've done and various bits and pieces. So it's been an absolute pleasure to work with Matt, certainly for the 10 years that I've been involved with the show, which has been absolutely marvellous. But the show must go on. And next, of course, it's the commercial news segment.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
And the first story this week comes to us from bbc.co.uk, and it's a kind of update reel on a story that we covered a few weeks ago. And the headline, Ryanair says it will reluctantly not charge parents to sit next to children. So remember, we ran a story a few weeks back saying that Ryanair were charging for parents to sit next to their kids. So Ryanair has changed its family seating policy to allow parents to sit next to their young children without paying a seat reservation fee after an investigation was opened. Adults travelling with children who do not wish to pay for a reserved seat will now be told of their free seat allocation after check-in, which Ryanair said was in line with most other European airlines. Ryanair boss Michael O'Leary said it would reluctantly adjust to this industry standard, but insists it's a long-standing policy, fully complied with laws and had given families certainty. It comes after the Competition and Markets Authority, CMA, said it was looking into whether the policy was unfair under consumer law. The CMA said it would test whether the airline's new seating policy complies with the law and that it will investigate. The investigation continues. Under the old policy, Ryanair said adults travelling with children paid one reserved seat fee and could select seats beside them for up to 4 children for free. This typically led to a fee of £8 each way, the CMA said when it launched its investigation earlier in the month. It said that Time was looking at whether the airline's approach to seat reservations may mean parents are being charged for the airline to meet its child safety and disability-related obligations as set out under the aviation rules, and will investigate to determine whether or not this practice is in line with consumer law. Other airlines offered to seat children next to parents or guardians without a fee, or allocate seats together automatically doing booking for free, it added. And Ryanair said its policy had given families certainty of where they would be sitting at the time of booking, which they had valued. It said the free parent seats will now be available at the back of the aircraft, as the front rows tend to be reserved. The minor policy tweak came into effect on Thursday last week, it said, and it doesn't expect the change to have any effect on Ryanair's revenue. O'Leary hit out at the CMA for targeting its family seating policy, which he said had been universally embraced by consumers as the most progressive and transparent in Europe. Instead of promoting competitiveness and lower fares for consumers, CMA is on a mission to force Ryanair to adopt the less transparent and less consumer-friendly family seating policy applied by most other airlines, just because it's the industry standard, he said. Well, I didn't realise this until I just read that story there. That it does say on there that these seats are at the back of the aircraft, because if anyone's ever booked a seat for Ryanair will know that if you want to reserve a seat at the front or overwing or anything sort of forward of the aircraft, you pay a premium to sit there. Now, Nev, I know you've never experienced this, but you do.
I'm a bit, I never thought I'd ever say this. I have some sympathy with Ryanair on this one, actually. And let's face it, it's taken the Competition and Markets Authority a very long time to come up with this ruling. So, yeah, it's. I think from a legal point of view, I think it was a bit of a loophole, which Ryanair were exploiting, and of course they do that all the time, and that's how they're able to offer the fares that they are. But I think some common sense has had to prevail here. Otherwise, it's just going to turn it into a bit of a standoff between the two of them. But I'm glad it's been resolved, and yes, Ryanair will lose some revenue because of this, but not terribly much, I don't think.
And it is my mission, Nev, probably next year, to get you on a Ryanair flight.
Yes, I'm happy to do so.
And
I'll be your chaperone, Nev.
Yeah, I've just got to check with my mental health
that's me.
ambassador.
I could be your I could be your emotional support worker.
There you go.
Just to make sure that you get through the experience okay.
No, I think it's a good shout, mate. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, thank you.
But as I've said before on the show, I definitely don't recommend seat 1A, Nev.
No. Also, I mean, I'm impressed with this. I don't know if it's just the 737-800s or the Maxes with the built-in ladders to climb on and off the aircraft. They do look a bit rickety, don't they? And I would imagine in the wet weather, when it's howling down with rain in Stansted at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're trying to navigate your way up those or down, worse still, might be a bit tricky. But it is good that I don't know if it's an option that Boeing have offered them so that they can unload and load the aircraft easier.
But it's an option for anybody buying it.
Is it? Okay.
It goes all the way back to the 200 had them as well.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you could buy that as an option.
Yeah.
And I think it's got a wind same as doors. When opening doors, there's a wind limit on that. There's probably a wind limit on the steps as well, but I don't know it because I don't fly the things. I'm sure somebody far clever than me will mention it in the chat.
Yes.
Yeah, David Bone in the chat room says that Britannia had them on the 737-200s.
Oh, they did. Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
they did.
I flew from Luton to Cork or Belfast. Can't remember where it was, but yes, I do remember that on the 737-200. Yes, you are right, David. Good spot.
One other thing to call out here, I hope the CMA are now going to go after every other airline that does this as well. Charges parents to sit together. Otherwise, that's not particularly fair, is it?
Are there other airlines that do this, Andy?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't have kids, so I can't say, but
Possibly.
I have to say, I mean, it wasn't obvious to me when I booked my holiday this year, and it was there was an implication that if you wanted to sit together, that it might be better to pre-book your seats. So I think there's maybe some kind of coercive marketing going on, shall we say, whereby it's not always immediately obvious. And,
Maybe if you have a child under X age, then everybody should just be allowed to, or it should automatically give you seats together with at least one of the people you're traveling with.
Yeah.
Right, Nev, next story for you. And we've not had a code share story for quite a while.
It's on travelweek.ca. It's a code-share agreement between Porter Airlines and British Airways. And in an announcement from British Airways, the carrier notes its passengers will now have seamless access to travel on selected Porter domestic routes. British Airways travellers will be able to book flights under BA's code to 17 destinations in Canada, connecting from the British Airways network when travelling to or from London via Toronto or Montreal. Porter's Senior Vice President and Chief Commercial Officer, Edmund L. Debs, said, "It's our pleasure to welcome BA customers to the Porter experience. This code-share agreement reflects our shared commitment to making travel seamless and enjoyable. More travellers have the opportunity to discover more of Canada the Porter way, with elevated service and comfort that we're known for. We look forward to a strong and growing partnership." Neil Chernoff, who's Chief Planning and Strategy Officer at BA, added, "We are delighted to launch this code share with Porter Airlines, allowing British Airways customers to book flights on Porter Airlines network with convenience and ease. This this agreement makes travel between London and Canada even easier, offering more options and flexibility. And we look forward to working closely with Porter Airlines and further strengthening our partnership." BA code share flights with Porter are available to book now for travel from July the 8th, which is next week. Porter spokesman Brad Zucchero told Travel Week that for now, only British Airways is selling its code share flights, and Porter will introduce distribution in the coming months. There we are. Yes, I saw a lot of Porter Airlines when I was visiting Liz in Toronto at Billy Bishop's airport, which is the Toronto City Airport. Lots of ATR 42s, I seem to remember. Now they've got some jets. So,
Is that the one that's on the lake?
Do you know? I can't remember. Someone will tell me in the chat room. But yes, the I think it might be. But it's the main city airport in Toronto anyway. So yeah.
Andy, next story's up for you. It's an Airbus story.
Yes, and this is from aerospace.globalnews.com. And it's Airbus A380 wing cracks trigger emergency EASA inspection order. The European Union Aviation Safety Agency, EASA, has ordered urgent inspections of 16 aircraft, which are the A380 aircraft, after cracks were discovered in wing structural components, placing renewed focus on the long-term maintenance challenges facing the world's largest passenger aircraft. The Emergency Airworthiness Directive, issued on the 22nd of June and taking effect on the 24th of June, requires operators to inspect wing mid-spars on affected aircraft after regulators concluded that cracks found during earlier inspections could reduce the structural integrity of the wing. The directive applies to aircraft operated by Emirates and Qantas and follows a review of inspection data gathered under previous airworthiness requirements. While there's no indication of an immediate safety risk across the wider A380 fleet, 5 aircraft must undergo inspections before they are permitted to fly again. The remaining 11 aircraft must be inspected within 25 flight cycles. According to EASA, the latest directive stems from an analysis of inspections already carried out on A380 wing structures. The regulator said cracks identified on certain aircraft could affect wing strength, prompting Airbus to develop an additional detailed inspection program focused on the wing midspars, key structural elements located within the wing box. Operators have been instructed to obtain inspection procedures directly from Airbus and report the results within 7 days, regardless of where the cracks are found. Any aircraft showing discrepancies will require repairs before returning to service. EASA has also indicated that further regulatory action could follow once inspection results are analysed. The 5 aircraft requiring inspection before their next flight are all operated by Emirates, the world's largest A380 customer. EASA has permitted limited ferry flights without passengers to allow aircraft to be repositioned for inspection work. Of the 16 affected aircraft, 15 belong to Emirates, reflecting the airline's dominant position as the largest A380 operator. The Dubai-based carrier operates more than 100 A380s and accounts for nearly half of the 251 aircraft delivered before Airbus ended the programme. One affected aircraft belongs to Qantas, whose A380 fleet remains central to its long-haul operations. So this is quite a small batch of aircraft, really. It must come from a certain construction run.
Well,
I don't know if it's the earlier ones.
funnily enough, I did hear something that actually the MSN numbers were all over the place with these.
Oh,
and
really?
and they were kind of quite dotted around. So it didn't appear to follow, that they were all built in a certain batch. So I don't know whether there's perhaps, I mean, I know certainly having worked in manufacturing industry where I've supplied into aerospace projects, the traceability that you have to have on anything would mean that in this instance they would have been able to sort of dig quite deep into where the affected parts would have come from, who would have manufactured them, what material, what batch the material was made out of, and all of that stuff. And you can really drill down to quite a significant level of detail. So I would imagine, or I'm going to speculate, that it was probably some sort of manufacturing fault, and that maybe a certain part of the structure was manufactured in a sort of slightly haphazard way, whereby part of that structure may have been assembled at different points in time depending on the aircraft.
It's interesting that 5 aircraft had to be inspected immediately and 11 had 20 more flight cycles, 25 more flight cycles they could do. Could it be a cycle issue where, with all the data they have and looking at the trajectory of these cracks, beyond that, it's a danger?
Yeah, that would be my guess as well, I think, on that one.
Very interesting. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with these and what the data says, because it could affect the wider fleet then of the 251 that were built.
I feel a bit naive that I didn't realise there were that many, actually.
Yeah,
quite
Emirates
a few have been
most of
scrapped
them.
now already.
Yeah.
Jason Trussell in the chat room says he's said for a few years now that the A380 is too big and will have fatigue issues. For me, he says it's just too big.
That wing was designed to carry a much higher load than it does, because that wing was designed for the Dash 900 as well and further stretches. So I don't know about that.
I think in terms of flight cycles as well, Emirates obviously are a very big user of that aircraft in lots of, what should I say? Obviously, being based in Dubai, it's very hot there, and they'll be all over the world, won't they? So they'll probably do more flight cycles than anybody else. Certainly, people like BA that only have 12 aircraft. I don't know actually whether all 12 are functioning at the moment, which would make a nice change if they are. Yeah, so I think that it is based on flight cycles and how quickly they need to be inspected, I think.
And Emirates use them for a long-haul aircraft. They use them on very medium-haul sectors as well. Take Heathrow, for instance, like 6-hour flight. That's nowhere near the mission length that the aircraft was designed for, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still would like to sample the 380 Nev with BA.
No, it's a good product. I mean, so I flew to Dallas on it, and did I fly to Los Angeles as well? I can't remember. But no, I mean, when you're trundling down the runway, and especially if you're on the top deck, and the thing actually lifts off, you go, "Are we really actually at rotate speed?" It just doesn't feel fast enough because you're that much further away from the ground.
The loudest thing are the flap motors as well. That's
Yeah.
all you can hear work.
Oh, they've done a superb job of. I mean, Rolls have done a great job of engine design, but also the manufacturers have done an incredibly good job of making the aircraft very quiet, and therefore on the long haul sectors, I mean, you really can get some decent amounts of sleep on it.
Cameron Cornish in the chat room makes a good point. I think he means he's on about the Emirates 380, where he says that where else can you stand at a bar at 40,000 feet?
Yep, Emirates, Qatar, Etihad, all on them.
Oh, they've got the bars as well on the other two as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just Emirates that had the posh bar. No. Oh.
No.
Right, Nick. Next up for you, and who is the best airline in Europe?
Yeah, well, this one comes from timeout.com, and the headline is "This British airline has just been crowned the best in Europe." Each year, global non-profit Apex, the Airline Passenger Experience Association, hosts a bunch of awards to crown the top airlines around the world. Now, the Apex Best Awards, launched to recognise the best regional providers across factors like seat comfort, cabin service, food and beverage, entertainment, and Wi-Fi, have crowned their winners for 2026, and one British airline outshone the rest in Europe. Virgin Atlantic was named the best overall airline in Europe for 2026. The airline, which is 42 years old this year, that makes me feel old, recently became the first British carrier to launch direct flights from London Heathrow to Seoul in South Korea. It will also be adding direct flights to Phuket in Thailand from October. As for the other winners in Europe, KLM Royal Dutch Airlines from the Netherlands received the Best Cabin Service Award. Finnair won for Best Seat Comfort. And Air Baltic was crowned the Wi-Fi winner. Turkish Airlines secured the glory for 2 categories: Best Food and Beverage and Best Entertainment. Sadly, no European airlines nabbed a prize in any of the global awards across the same categories. Apex bases all of its awards on passenger ratings. You can check out the award winners on the Apex website. So the overview of the global winners: Best Cabin Service was Korean. Best Entertainment was Emirates. Best Food and Beverage was Qatar. Best Seat Comfort, Eva Air. And Best Wi-Fi was Delta. So, yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that Singapore isn't in there. They always seem to score very highly on passenger ratings, I tend to find. But anyway, that's good. I'm sure Virgin Atlantic will be very happy with that, because I think for a sort of relatively small airline, they do sometimes seem to fall into the shadows of some of their bigger competition a little bit. So, yeah, good for them.
Yeah, and hopefully it help them out as they are hemorrhaging money at the moment as well.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, get some more people flying on them. That'd be good.
Oh, wow.
Why do you think that is, Andy?
I think what is
The money situation with Virgin.
I don't know, to be honest. They offer, well, they fly a mixed fleet, so that increases cost. The service they offer is fabulous, and they've got all their lounge and stuff like that. So maybe it's operating costs. Not filling the aircraft is quite difficult for them at the moment. They've had to restrict a lot of their Far East routes with all the problems in the Middle East. And oil prices really do have an effect on small airlines like that.
Like you, Nev, have you flown Virgin before?
Yes, many years ago, 747-200 to JFK. Oh, sorry, Newark from Heathrow. So yes, a long time ago, going to one of those US trade shows, and in economy. I know it's hard for you to even hear those words coming out of my mouth, but a very nice product, even back then. That they've really tried hard, and actually, in my experience, Virgin cabin crew in particular are really good. They haven't flown them for years. I'd love to fly on the 350 or the 787s, but no, they were, even back then, they were really good crews.
And good uniforms as well. I always thought their uniforms were very good when you flew with them before. So, yeah, that's good. Right, next story is up from twz.com. And, oh, yeah, this is the story, I think, that broke the interweb. Boeing 777 pilots take on extremely low pass by Boeing jet captured in viral video. So for a Boeing 777 cargo jet pilot they spoke with for this story, the viral video of a 777 making a freakishly low pass and sharp bank over a Texas airfield was a shocking sight to see. Shocking, yes, exclaims Steve Jones, a former Navy MH-53 Sea Dragon pilot who now flies 777s for Atlas Air. There are a few words he says, which I can't repeat on this show, but Jones is reacting to a 37-second video clip, which we'll show you in a moment, of the jet painted in Qatar Airways cargo livery flying over the runway at Horseshoe Bay Private Jet Center in Horseshoe Bay, Texas. Around the 12-second mark, the jet makes a sharp bank to the right, placing the right wingtip just above the ground before gaining altitude and flying off. Jones estimated that the jet was flying at around 50 feet off the ground during the flat part of the flyby and traveling between 210 and 220 knots. It looks like the flaps and slats are up, he's noted, and the exact altitude and speed were currently unknown. FAA records show the jet November 705 Delta November is registered to Jettran LLC, an aircraft leasing and service company with the address at Horseshoe Bay. However, the company reportedly released a statement saying that the low-pass flight does not reflect operational standards and that the aircraft was going through a pre-delivery test flight before being turned over to Qatar Airways. Right. So for those of you watching in the world of YouTube, I'm going to play that video for you now. And I think most of us have seen this before, but be interested to hear your thoughts on this after the video's played, Andy. So here we go. And there we go. Right. Thoughts, Andy?
That's an incredibly reckless thing to do with an aircraft. That low, no, I think if the gear had been down, it would have been basically landing on the runway. No slats, no flaps. So it had to be well above its clean speed, so at least 200 plus knots. And just to pull that maneuver, why? I mean, even if they were going to fly that low, at least wings level, pull the nose up, and then make the turn. But to immediately turn in, this could have been a video that showed a massive disaster. And I don't get what's going through the pilot's heads here, especially the pilot in command. Why you would do this is beyond me.
Yeah, just showed that video again. It's in well, Nev, your thoughts, Nev?
Well, I can't add any more to what Andy's already said, really, except to say that I'd like to meet the PR person of Qatar Airways. They were extremely slow to make any comment on that, saying that it wasn't an operational flight and it wasn't their crews flying it and all the rest of it. That went on, I think, for several days before someone came out and said, actually, that's not our crews and our aircraft operating it, just because it's got Qatar Airways all over it. So I think that was a massive PR disaster for the airline. Of course, had the worst happened, that it doesn't even bear thinking about, apart from the loss of life and the consequences.
Yeah, and I believe this aircraft had just been converted to a freighter by another company, not the ones mentioned here. Then it was being tested. But I mean, I can't understand as well in any form of test program why doing a low flyby across a field. I mean, that's not even a low flyby. That's down in the hedge row type flying. Why that would be required or needed? It's not. It was somebody showboating big style, and they were unfortunately caught on camera and flight radar, and they were very lucky that did not go wrong.
Imagine a bit of wind shear or something as he flew down the runway, and sudden loss of height, and that would have been the end of it. And the engines would not have had the time to spool up for him to get out of that manoeuvre.
Exactly, and I'd love to have heard the briefing between the crew about what they were planning to do here and what the other pilot thought of this. Because if they both thought this was a cool idea, then that's incredibly dangerous to have those two people in a flight deck. If one was pressing on the other one to do it, again, there's nothing good I could say about any of this. It just shouldn't have happened.
Are there likely to be repercussions for the individuals involved, Andy?
Yes, if not from the company, definitely from the FAA.
Yeah, that's what
They're
I was
definitely going to
wondering.
be looking at this because it was over an airfield. But I mean, if you did that in UK airspace, the CAA would come knocking, and you would be basically looking at a charge here of flying an aircraft recklessly.
Remember when Wizz Air did their flying down the River Danube?
Danube.
You remember? And there was a nice YouTube video all about how they did the briefing for it and all the safety that went with it, and to get the authorities' permission to do it. There's a lot goes on with this sort of stuff. This seems a bit more freestyle to me.
Absolutely. Another pilot who did that down the Danube, and they did it gear down, it was flaps down, it was in a very controlled manner, slow speed. You do not want to be messing about 50 feet above the ground in a large jet with a lot of inertia at 200 plus knots. It doesn't work. I do remember several years ago, I think Port Tap did this in an A310 that they had at some air show, a similar maneuver that was ridiculous. And that video is out there on YouTube as well, if anybody wants to go and find it. It's just, yes, you're right, Darren. It's cowboy flying. That's what it is.
I find it extraordinary that for somebody to reach a level whereby they have gained the proficiency to be able to pilot an aircraft like this, that they would do something so reckless and would so obviously endanger their career. I just find it absolutely extraordinary that somebody could do that.
Yes, what's the old saying? There's old pilots and there's bold pilots. There's no old bald pilots.
Indeed. Yes. Very true.
Yeah, I don't think you get away with this with a A320 full of passengers, Andy.
Although, no, the last time somebody tried to fly by in an A320 full of passengers, it went into the bushes.
That was Absine, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, back in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember seeing that video.
Yeah, you have to have some ego to pull off a stunt like this as well. But anyway, my point is laid out. This should never have happened.
Right, Nev, you got the next story, another Airbus story, actually, Nev, for you.
It's on flightglobal.com. It says that Airbus appears to be leaning towards a quick and simple stretch of the A220 narrowbody that would add around 5 rows of seats, putting capacity in the region of 185 passengers if it decides to proceed with the so-called -500 variant. However, it sees no need to unseat Pratt & Whitney as the A220's sole engine supplier, citing that the improved performance being delivered by the propulsion specialist. Speaking during a media briefing at its Mirabel Production Centre in Montreal on the 23rd of June, Guillaume Chaverson, Chief Executive Officer of Airbus Canada, said the company has been working very hard on the potential stretch and has accelerated its internal assessments of the jet. Although he says it's unclear if a launch decision will come this year, Cheverson notes that the airframer has a particular focus on the project in 2026, conducting engineering studies and customer analysis. We want to be ready soon to make a decision, he says. But that customer feedback is pushing Airbus towards a less complicated solution, he says. They're looking for something simple with a time to market that will be as quick as possible. They want the lowest risk possible as a solution. Cheverson says trade studies are continuing to establish the optimum balance between additional capacity, weight and range. Although he declines to specify the size of stretch under construction, he says a maximum capacity of 185 seats is in the right ballpark. We still have some work to be done and we are looking at it. We're also discussing with Pratt & Whitney to make sure that we have the right engine solution. Despite early signals that Airbus could look into bringing in CFM International into the programme, offering its LEAP power plant as a rival engine to the Pratt & Whitney PW1500G, Cheverson insists it will stick with its current supplier. We like to have choices, but in our case, it would be an expensive divorce with Pratt. The durability and reliability improvements implemented by Pratt & Whitney on the PW 1500G, it promises engine-related aircraft on-ground incidents will have to be reduced to zero by the year end, have also reinforced Airbus's trust in the incumbent provider, he says. We have no reason to move away, especially when you look at the simple stretch approach. At this stage, it's not an option, he says. Noting that the stretch has not yet been launched, Scott Creamer, head of PW 1500G program at Pratt & Whitney, says it's been working very hard with Airbus on the trade studies and evaluating options for the stretch. It's a little bit too early to say what exactly our engine position will be. We are 100% committed to the A220 program and committed to any future variant, he says. Although Airbus has an objective to produce any stretch within the same final assembly line in Mirabel, some modifications will be necessary for the airframer to maintain its intended output of 13 to 14 aircraft per month from 2028 on the current -100 and -300 variants. If we introduce a new variant that won't run at the same speed, we'll have to create a surge capacity to ramp up the variant until it reaches the same speed as the legacy product, says Daniel Wenninger, Senior Vice President, A220 Program Office. Although 185 seat capacity on the A220-500 will be close to the A320neo, currently capped at a maximum of 195 seats, Airbus is not worried by any potential cannibalization of sales, says Christian Clay, head of single aisle market development. He sees considerations such as fleet commonality and the comparative production rates of the two programs, ensuring that buyers of both types remain loyal to their current choices. There is really not much overlap when you think about it, he says. We are creating more choices for the airlines. They will have a choice between 3 aircraft types in the A220 family and the classic choice on the A320 family. Meanwhile, the manufacturer is continuing its ramp up on the program towards its rate of 13 target in 2028. This is just me speaking. What's the point? I don't understand. Am I missing something massive here? Presumably it will need recertifying as well, with a stretch. And it's just going to take a long time where they're already producing an A320 Neo.
So I think this is for ease of commonality for an airline. If you're just an A220 operator, and you can get a stretch variant that gets close to a 20 without retraining all your crew, because it'll be a common type rating again. And I guess this is why they just stick with Pratt & Whitney as well, because every operator only has that option now. So why offer another engine source, which again adds complexity and cost? So I can sort of see where they're coming from. It's just, like you say, it's going to take a while to get this sorted out. Is the bean counters must have looked at it and gone, all right, Airbus, please do this. If you haven't done it by X year, then we're going to have to buy 320s or 737s, because that's where the break-even point is or whatever. So I can sort of see why they're doing it.
And also, I mean, there's a hell of a backlog in the factory of A320neo aircraft.
Yeah. So I think you've got more chance of getting one of these probably before a 320neo.
Yeah, interesting. Well, let's see how it goes. But I just did not understand the finances and the operational reasons behind. But you've explained that very well, I must say.
Yeah, that'll boil down to, because at the end of the day, it's all about the money, isn't it?
Of course it is. Yeah,
it's all about the money. Right, Andy, another one for you, and good news for long-haul travellers who might not be able to afford Seat 1A.
Yes, I'm slightly confused about this, so I hope you've got pictures, Carlos.
I have, yeah.
This is from the metro.co.uk, and popular airline introduces genius innovation for better sleep on flights. A good sleep on a plane evades a lot of us, and it's not for a lack of trying. Social media is flooded with countless makeshift methods to try and get some comfortable shut-eye, from tying your head to the chair with a scarf to pulling your knees up to your chest and tightening your seatbelt around your ankles. I have never thought of doing that. But Emirates have just introduced a game-changing feature in their seats, which allows passengers to rest their head for a nap. The airline's newly refurbished planes now offer adjustable headrests that pull forwards to create a cushioned surface for you to fall asleep on. Instagrammer at 12cities.co posted a video of her experience with the new headrests, which has more than 26,000 likes in less than 24 hours. Emirates just did what she wrote: best flight of my life, not going to lie. She's obviously never flown in business. She then films herself pulling the headrest down, which is shaped like a sturdy neck pillow, and rests her head on it, smiling. People were quick to dub it a game changer and great and awesome for travellers. Another commenter was happy that finally someone thought about passengers' comfort on long flights. This is genius, added another, while someone else said, love the upgrade. The seat upgrade has been implemented on 95 Emirates aircraft so far, including 42 A380s and 53 Boeing 777s. This is more than 1/3 of the airline's fleet, so there's a good chance your plane could have this feature. The influencer appeared to be flying in economy, but premium economy has also had a major upgrade. Those seats will feature full let and foot rests and 6-way adjustable headrests. The Emirates retrofit program revolves around the central premise that we will offer our customers a truly elevated experience every time they choose to travel with us, Sir Tim Clark, Emirates Airlines president, said. To this end, our engineering team has been working continuously and at a pace in close collaboration with an ecosystem of partners and suppliers to meticulously refresh and integrate the best in-class products to each aircraft in the program. Our retrofit program has raised the bar at every step in terms of complexity, scale, and detailed craftsmanship. But people did take issue with the new feature, claiming it's not very hygienic. So, Carlos, pop that picture back on, please.
Yep.
Let's actually have a look
There
at these
it is.
things.
So,
I'm trying to work out how this is supposed to work.
So the wings fold down from the back of the chair. So it's kind of it's one of those kind of things where you can lean your head to the left or lean your head to the right.
So we're supposed to be able to bend our necks 90 degrees now.
I
don't see how that is comfortable at all.
I think that picture sort of gives it a bit of a lower look. I think it is I think you can raise it up and down, because I know on Emirates, though, the actual main headrest, you can move those up and down.
Just looking closer at your picture there, I think it might bend in the middle as well.
A couple of interesting comments in the chat room. Mazu says, similar to the portable neck pillows people use. And Richard Adams says, stick a handle on it and it will look like a toilet.
Okay, so it does fold up from the sides. All right, I see people's point. I wouldn't want to put my head on that. I'd just bring my own neck pillow.
And this is the thing. Can you imagine, after a long flight of people kind of leaning across, whilst they're asleep and
dribbling?
I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, drooling. Are the cabin crew going to go through that whole cabin after each flight with a wet wipe?
It's Emirates. Emirates cabin crew don't clean the cabin.
No. But are the cleaners going to go through and wipe every single one of those headrests down with like an anti-back wipe?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to get, and it looks quite white as well. It's going to get very dirty and grubby very quickly.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, it's being rolled out, so hopefully one of our listeners who's listening to the show will be flying Emirates at some point in the not too distant future. Will be able to tell us just how wonderful they are.
You have to redo your makeup afterwards, Andy.
Yes, and put more Brill cream in as well, because I'll be sliding all over the cushion.
Brill cream? You're far too young for Brill cream, Andy. Mind you, with a banter like that, I suppose, you could probably get away with Brill cream.
I used Brill cream when I was a lad. Come on.
Hey. Oh, Nick, we are moving on to another Airbus story, and it kind of touches on a story that we talked about, I think it was last week, with the retiring of the 319s.
Yeah, so this one's from aerospace-testing-international.com. The headline is Neptune receives first A319 firefighting aircraft. Neptune Aviation Services has taken delivery of its first Airbus A319. making the start of a modification program that will make it the first operator to deploy the type as a wildfire air tanker. The aircraft was delivered to a commercial jet's 400,000 square foot maintenance facility in Dothan, Alabama, where the conversion work will be carried out. Neptune, based in Missoula, Montana, selected the A319 after more than 2 years of evaluating candidates for firefighting conversion based on retardant capacity, fuel load availability, and long-term serviceability. Converting the A319 will give an aircraft with a retardant capacity of 4,500 gallons, that's just over 17,000 litres, compared to a maximum of 3,000 gallons in Neptune's current fleet of BAE 146 air tankers. The aircraft also carries more fuel, reducing the need for frequent reloads and increasing time over active fires, according to Neptune. Nick Lynn, Vice President of Operations at Neptune Aviation, said the acquisition of our first A319 is a pivotal moment for our organization and the wildland firefighting industry. The upgrade of our air tanker fleet is fully underway. We have a physical aircraft available that we can convert for aerial firefighting. Our team can start performing test flights, and we can start zeroing in on completing the modifications that must be made to the aircraft ready for 2028. Neptune partnered with France-based engineering firm Aerotech and Concept, an Explio company, to design the modifications that Commercial Jet will implement at its Alabama facility. Neptune recently completed its critical design review of the A319, with all major design decisions finalized and engineers beginning to develop manufacturing drawings. Test flights are expected in the coming weeks. Commercial Jet is expected to complete modifications within 18 months, putting the aircraft on track for the 2028 wildfire season. Next generation firefighting aircraft capable of carrying greater retardant loads have been a focus of increasing development activity as wildfire threats grow in scale and complexity. Simulation tools are also being developed to support the certification and training pipeline for these platforms. I'm going to struggle with this surname now, so apologies. Jennifer Drown, president of Neptune Aviation, said, as wildfire threats grow in size and complexity, we are investing in the next generation of air tankers to continue to develop the capabilities expected by our agency partners and the communities we protect. This marks a significant milestone as we work toward adding the A319 to our fleet. So yeah, that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? It's a nice livery they've got on that, and yeah, I've got to say that's a pretty smart looking aircraft. Andy, have you had any kind of simulator experience of the kind of low speed handling that might be required for this type of mission?
Only in approach configuration, really, which is, I guess, the sort of configuration they'll be using to do this. We do lots of practice at low speed in approach configuration stall maneuvers, which I think that's going to be quite important for these guys, especially dumping the loads and the center of gravity shifting, etc. Of course, that'll all have been designed in to hopefully shift the C of G, which is better, I can never remember, forward, which will reduce the stall. But it's going to be really, there's a lot of gubbins in the belly of an Airbus, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they've designed this to then dump the retardant. I'm guessing I think the 146 has a set of pipes off the back and side that they use. So this might be something similar, because I'm guessing they're going to strip out both holds, and the holds will be the area and probably the main deck where they carry the retardant as well. It's going to be quite interesting to see how this works. And I'm guessing from a simulator perspective, they're probably going to have to get Airbus involved as well, because Airbus are very, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't like to give away the data package that goes in the simulator. So I'm guessing they might have to get Airbus involved to actually help simulate this sort of mass dump, mass change in center of gravity, and actual mass of the aircraft as well. Because that's the real danger point in these sort of aircraft operations.
Yeah, it is. I just wonder whether a standard A319 has the ability, that has enough speed of trim, shall we say, to compensate for that massive shift in C of G, or will they have to find a way of speeding that up, as it were?
That's interesting. Manually, you could trim it pretty quick, but that's not a normal law. That is an interesting point. The elevator will do it quite nicely, and then the auto trim will catch up, because that's normally how it self trims to begin with, anyway. But yeah, that's an interesting point. It'd be interesting to see how the certification for this goes.
So presumably with this type of flying, it's all about keeping a really, really close eye on your airspeed.
Well, it's not just it's angle of attack as well. That's what really defines your lift, not your airspeed.
Yeah.
So I guess they'll have to really study, and they'll have done it all through the computer simulations, etc., of how the flight envelope is going to change with the change in mass. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it always strikes me as a very kind of quite a risky undertaking, and sadly we do often hear about accidents involving firefighting aircraft.
Yeah, because you've got to watch the loads that you're putting through the wing as well when all of this is happening, because it's a massive stress, really. Even reducing the mass of the aircraft rapidly still produces a stress on the airframe.
Right.
Point that Darren makes in the chat room might be a slight issue. He says, will this be like the CL215 and 415 and scoop water from the lakes? That would be cool.
Well, you'll definitely put both engines out if you do that. They hang a little bit lower than the body.
But it could be a way of utilising these poor little 319s as they're all being retired.
It's a great use.
Yeah. BA got a few, or BA had a few, got a few kicking about, Nev?
Yeah, few left, and that nice one in the BA, the old BA livery. That actually, I flew that. Sorry, I didn't fly it. I was a passenger on that to Newcastle when I met up with you, Andy, that time. If you can remember.
Well, that was
that the BA one, Nev? The BA,
yes,
yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My goodness, yes, that was 2019, I think.
Yeah, gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't they do an Olympic one as well, Nev? A special one.
Yep.
The Olympic.
They did it was white and gold, like a dove, wasn't it? There was that.
Yeah,
one.
and they flew it into Newquay, didn't they? That's right.
Yeah.
Oh. Right, next story, and gonna thank Matt Clutterbuck for sending this one in. This is NASA's quiet Son of Concorde paves way for supersonic travel. So we've talked about this a few times on the show. But the plane built by NASA has broken the sound barrier without producing a sonic boom, bringing civilian supersonic flights a step closer. The experimental X-59 aircraft, dubbed the Son of Concorde, exceeded the speed of sound after taking off from Edwards Air Force Base in California. I'm going to pop a picture up on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube. The needle-nose aircraft flew Mach 1.4 which is about 924 miles an hour at 55,000 feet, the speed and altitude at which it eventually intended to operate. The US banned supersonic flights over its land back in 1973 because of ear-splitting sonic booms, but the sleek aircraft, which will measure just under 100 feet long, is capable of breaking the speed of sound while producing only a gentle sonic thump. It was a huge deal for us, said Larry Clate, an aerospace engineer at NASA and the testing lead for the second and third phase of the Quest mission. The mission aims to prove that supersonic flight can be made quiet enough to be acceptable over populated areas. The end result, said Mr. Clay, should be more like a car boot closing across a car park than an explosion, something hopefully very benign to our everyday lives. NASA has previously said it expects the X-59 sound to be as low as around about 75 perceived loudness decibels compared to more than 100 perceived loudness decibels for Concorde. Developed by NASA and Lockheed Martin, the X-59 is intended to pave the way for commercial aircraft capable of flying faster than sound over land. If successful, it would bring passengers one step closer to traveling at supersonic speeds across the US for the first time since Concorde's retirement. The sonic boom, capable of rattling windows and damaging buildings, is caused by shock waves that spread out from the aircraft. As the aircraft accelerates towards and then beyond Mach 1, pressure waves that would normally travel ahead of it compress into a single shock wave, producing a sudden change in air pressure that reaches the ground as loud as a crack. The X-59 has been designed to prevent those shock waves from merging into a single boom. Its distinctive needle nose, which accounts for roughly a third of the aircraft length, gradually displaces the air, reducing the strength of the shock waves. The engine is also mounted on top of the fuselage, shielding much of the remaining noise from the ground by directing shock waves upwards. Commercial aircraft have been banned from breaking the sound barrier since 1973, as I said, after residents filed complaints in response to sonic boom tests conducted over Oklahoma City. As such, Concorde could only go supersonic over the Atlantic Ocean. A commercial aircraft matching the X-59 speed could, in theory, cover the distance from New York to Los Angeles in just under 3 hours. Commercial flights take around double that time now, and the transatlantic flight, say, from Washington, D.C. to London could be completed in around 4 hours rather than 7. The X-59 is only one seat and is not intended as a prototype for commercial airliners, but will be used to collect data to develop a supersonic passenger aircraft. Concorde, the Anglo-French supersonic passenger aircraft that cruised at twice the speed of sound, was retired back in 2003. Now, I don't think we are going to see this in our time as a commercial airliner flying. I don't know what you guys think.
It's ridiculous. I can't even begin to understand what the point is. If you think about Concorde when it was designed and developed, I know we're not comparing like with like exactly here, but if we're talking about supersonic travel, it was designed in the late 50s and 60s. It did not fly commercially until 1976. And then it flew very successfully up until 2003, had there not been the oil crisis, the very poor handling of the French Concorde that crashed, and various other things that came together. People don't want supersonic transport. I don't believe. I don't see the purpose of it. Can you imagine trying to get certification of this sort of stuff today in a world where the regulators are so risk averse? They cannot afford to have another big moment of any sort. Which is why they're being so careful about A380 wing spars and all the rest of it. I just do not understand the point of this transport at all. I'm sorry if that offends the manufacturers or the experimental folks, but I don't understand it.
Who's going to be able to afford traveling like this? It's still going to be a very expensive game. As Concorde was, it's only the rich and famous and very wealthy that can afford to do it. This is not transport for the masses. Fuel has become even more sensitive now since Concorde's time, and it will still. You have to burn a lot of fuel to get up to those speeds. There's no engine out there, well, not that's public knowledge, that can do this efficiently, really. So I don't get it, and I don't really see, as you said, I don't see airlines being interested in this either.
Also, the other thing to remember, of course, is the reason afterburners were used on Concorde, the reheats, was to get it through that rather difficult phase of Mach 1 to Mach 1.4. And after that, they were able to turn the reheats off as it drifted up to a maximum ceiling of 60,000 feet on full dry power. This has only been tested to 1.4 Mach at flight level 55,000 feet. So I think it's a different economic time as well. And as you rightly say, with the sort of fuel crises that are going on. Having said all that, of course, you're not old enough to remember the fuel crisis of 1973, Andy, I'm sure. But
I wasn't even around, Nev. Wasn't even around.
but of course, that was 3 years before Concorde entered service. So that was a pretty big moment anyway. But as you say, it was the only the rich and famous that could possibly afford a ticket anyway back then.
Yeah.
There's some good comments in the chat room, Nev. I don't know if you want to pick some of those.
Let's have a look. Yeah, Jason says Boom Supersonic have been dragging this thing along for 25 years now. Darren says maybe Global Airlines can buy a Boom. It will never happen. Airplane Video Guy, I don't think supersonic commercial just isn't going to happen. It doesn't make any commercial success. Luxury over speed. Tanya says, I want it, but the general public probably doesn't. David Bone, it seems incredible that budgets were secured for the development of a project like this. And Darren quite rightly points out the 1973 fuel crisis killed Concorde orders, and it certainly did. Yeah, there's a lot of history going back of orders that were promised by the US and Far Eastern Airlines for these aircraft, but because of the fuel crisis, it never happened.
If Global Airlines end up with a supersonic aircraft, I will up the ante on eating my hat to eating my trousers. And if it does happen, I'll probably be senile and old and probably won't mind doing that.
There's so much material there that we can't possibly broadcast. But
you talk about the trousers, Nev?
Yes, and what he's just said.
Oh my word!
Yeah.
Oh dear! Just,
you see, I mean, at the moment, we can't even get people on and off aircraft properly. How are we going to do it in a supersonic fashion again? Any sensible? I know people like Mike Bannister are very keen on the Boom supersonic thing and all the rest of it. He's put a lot of stuff in about it, but honestly, it's a different time. That's not what people want, and I don't see them wanting that for another 50 years or more than that, probably.
Nick's not bothered because he travels at Mach 2.0 on his motorbike anyway.
Well, that's true. No, I'm going to buck the trend here and say that I think that there will always be a kind of a breed of travelers that want the most luxurious version of travel that they're able to get, and that people will be prepared to pay a premium for this because of the kind of cachet and the prestige of traveling supersonic. So yeah, I think that it will be a very niche market, but I feel like there is a market out there.
And when you say a very niche market, do you think any major airline right now would be willing to have a separate fleet of these?
I suspect not. I don't think we're going to see these with legacy carriers. I think this is going to be a bit like some of the kind of the small kind of boutique airlines where it's sort of, all business class configuration and stuff like that. I think it's going to be that kind of carrier that we're going to see doing these.
And do you think that would survive? I think for quite a long time, until they sorted out the operation, Concorde was loss making, and the rest of the airline was actually keeping that operation afloat.
I'm just wondering whether that with an airline like, picking this off the top of my head, like Emirates, for example, a bit like buying a Lexus. A Lexus is a posh Toyota. Could there be a kind of posh Emirates sort of sub brand that we might see?
There's an interesting comment in there from Airplane Video Guys. Should the people with money have a private jet now?
Well, yeah.
See, that market's exploded these days, hasn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, talking to Pip, I mean, in his company, I mean, they have. When I saw him at Duxford, they have never been busier. The company he works for, they're absolutely flat out. They're trying to recruit more people across the world and get aircraft quicker as well. That is a huge market, and that's one that's been less affected, I would say, by fuel problems that have existed in the other commercials.
Well, we should send a big thank you to Matt C for sending us that one, because yeah, thanks for getting in touch, Matt. And I will take this opportunity to say that people can always get in touch with the podcast to send in stories. We're always very happy to hear from you.
Now, Nev, you've got the next story, and it was sad news that came from eastern France this week.
This was tragic, wasn't it? It's on bbc.co.uk. It says that 11 people have died after a civilian aircraft carrying skydivers crashed in the town of Tomblain in eastern France, local officials said. The pilot and all 10 passengers were killed, including 5 instructors and 5 people who were preparing to skydive for the first time. The plane, which was being used by a parachutist school, had taken off from Nancy SA airfield when it's crashed suddenly at around 11 o'clock local time. Paris prosecutor's office has launched an investigation into the cause of the incident, French Interior Minister Laurent Nunez said. Some of the victims' relatives saw the crash take place as they had gathered at the airfield to watch the first time tandem jumps, Nunez said. The mayor of the nearby city of Nancy, Mathieu Klein, said that some of the victims had died in full view of their loved ones. Chenes Kironi, president of the Eastern Department of Meurthe et Moselle, said that those family members had suffered considerable psychological trauma. Nunez said that there was very strong emotion when he visited the crash site, as well as great solidarity for the families of the victims. Medical and psychological support teams had arrived to care for relatives and other witnesses, he added. The plane hit the ground near the edge of the airfield, close to a residential area and a shopping centre. Local officials say it narrowly missed the houses nearby, give or take a few metres, and the accident could have caused collateral casualties, says Yves Segui, the prefect of Meurthe et Moselle. He told French broadcaster BFM that the plane had fallen almost vertically in the immediate vicinity of a housing estate. Half the skydivers who died were nurses. The president of a local nursing organisation, Thierry Pichi, told BFM. They were colleagues who had decided to go on a first skydiving jump, no doubt to unwind, and were going through a difficult time with the heat wave, he said. The crash is the deadliest private plane accident in French history, excluding military and commercial flights. News agency AFP reports, citing the country's BEA Aviation Safety Agency. A witness who declined to be identified told Reuters he saw the plane veering off to the right as he was driving past. Clearly, something was wrong, he said. The man did not see the crash, but due to an embankment by the side of the road, but he said he heard the sound. When he arrived at the site, he tried to help extinguish the wreckage of the plane, which had caught fire, and weather conditions may have played a role, or perhaps not at all. I have really no idea, he told BFM. Like much of Europe, France had been gripped by a searing heat wave in recent days. An amber weather warning for high temperatures was in place for that area on Sunday. Goodness me. It doesn't bear thinking about, does it?
Awful. Terrible.
No. And temperature will have certainly played a part in this.
Because it was 40 degrees in that, or more, in that part of the country, wasn't it?
And looking at the images of the aircraft that Carlos put up, 11 people on board that aircraft is quite a squeeze. So there's potentially weight and balance issues here, but I think more likely performance calculations or lack thereof. Because going by the reports, this aircraft basically did not get airborne and stalled and just crashed at the end of the runway. So there's going to be probably a big investigation of this into what actual calculations were done beforehand. And this is something that would have been probably completely avoidable, sadly.
Yeah, Richard Adams in the chat room says 5 tandems on a very hot day, weight and balance issues, I suspect.
Yeah.
I think you're probably
I'd say more the takeoff performance with
Yeah.
the weight and balance as a factor.
Yeah.
But they'll get to the bottom of it eventually. But really sad, because the density altitude in that hot air would have been very high.
And when you're, and those sort of temperatures, the margin between I'll call it success in failure, is extremely thin, isn't it?
Yes, because you're basically trying to you're trying to take off at an altitude much higher than you actually are. Your density altitude is higher, so therefore there's less air essentially. So engine performance is less, lift is less, angle of attacks increase. All of this weight on board a stall is literally a matter of millimeters away.
Yeah.
That's a great shame. Well, hopefully the investigation will find out exactly what went wrong with us. They always do. They do take a hard time, don't they, to come out. So
the bad thing in this is that obviously there's no CVR, there's no flight data recorders. So it's basically what are this operator's procedures and what was done.
Going to stick with you, Andy, for the last story that has been sent in to us by Captain Al.
Yes, and this one is from the irishtimes.com. Ryanair condemns arson attack on houses occupied by staff in Swords. Ryanair has condemned a senseless and arson attack in Swords on several of the houses it owns and rents to members of its staff. 7 houses in the Fostertown area of the North Dublin suburb were targeted during an incident early on Tuesday morning in which wheelie bins were set alight, then pushed up against the front doors of the houses. Oh my goodness. Staff, some of whom were sleeping at the time, escaped out back doors, and the company said nobody had been hurt. A video on social media clearly shows the fire blazing immediately outside the front doors and the damage being caused to the houses. It is not known whether the attacks were simply random acts of vandalism, racially motivated, or intended to target the company itself, but Ryanair described those behind them as mindless idiots. The damage to the homes was serious, with front doors destroyed in several cases. Some of the staff who spoke to the media on Tuesday said they'd feared for their lives. The company, which has bought a number of houses in areas close to the airport to house staff, said it was hard to comprehend when these properties are rented to hard-working Irish and EU young people who work for Ryanair in flight, engineering, and in our Swords head office, and who pay their taxes here in the Irish state. Ryanair is one of the largest employers in the Swords area, and it's difficult to understand what these morons thought they would achieve by this criminal attack. The company said that thanks to the prompt efforts of Dublin Fire Brigade and the Garda in Swords, the damage was limited to burns on the front doors of those properties in the Swords area. None of the properties suffered serious damage, and thankfully none of Ryanair's employees were harmed in any way, although some are understandably unnerved by this senseless arson attack on the homes of hard-working young people. Ryanair employs 26,000 people across its operations, but has a high rate of turnover, 25% last year, and so it's constantly recruiting. Its decision to buy some housing in Dublin over the past few years has been part of an effort to retain staff, given the ongoing and acute accommodation shortages in Dublin. In a statement, they said investigations into the incident are ongoing, and emergency services responded to reports of a number of incidents of criminal damage by fire at a number of residential properties in Swords in the early hours of Tuesday, the 23rd of June. The local fire service extinguished the fires, and no injuries were reported at the time. Well, I hope this was just some random act of moronic, senseless arson.
Yeah, it's horrific, isn't it? Heard Michael O'Leary, actually nothing to do with this story, just a few weeks ago, saying that Ryanair had made some house purchases around the Swords area so that crews had got shorter distances to get to Dublin Airport for those very early flights as well. That was one of the criticisms I think a lot of the crews were having, because the amount of accommodation available in Dublin was very limited and people were having to travel a long distance. So the company have done a good job of trying to offer some rental accommodation locally to the airport, and to have this sort of thing happen is just horrific.
Awful.
There are some silly people in this world, unfortunately. Right, Nev, we're going to hand things over to you now to introduce what is, for many listeners, their favourite part of the show.
Yes, changing the tone a little bit. It's Retro Airline Ad of the Week. And this week, we're heading back to 1978 and the airline that flies everywhere, and we're the 3rd largest US airline. Then we go back a year to 1977 to an airline where being the best wasn't everything, it's the only thing. And for Carlos, this ad is like a newsagent top shelf magazine.
The airline that flies to Florida now flies to Frankfurt.
We're shining brighter.
The airline that flies to Houston now flies to Paris.
We're shining brighter.
The airline to New York now flies to Amsterdam. The airline to California now flies to London.
We're shining brighter.
National is now the third largest U.S. airline to Europe. The bigger we get,
The brighter we shine. Watch us shine.
TWA to California. 5 non-stops every business day to Los Angeles. 3 non-stops every day to San Francisco. The best on-time record between New York and Los Angeles. Between New York and San Francisco. Better than American and United. TWA to California. We're out to be the best business flyers airline in the business. To TWA, being the best isn't everything. It's the only thing.
And you can probably guess why I favoured that last particular advert.
I can only imagine. Of course, if the TriStar was flying today, the airlines couldn't afford to operate it because of the fuel costs.
They certainly wouldn't make any profit.
Oh, it's lovely to see them though. Come on, guys.
What is it you love about them so much, Carlos?
It was the design. I think in its time, that design was just so, with that third engine, was just so awesome. It just looked stunning. The aircraft looked incredible, I thought. Having that S-duct built into the rear of the aircraft. And I've said this before on the show, and I hate, if there's any DC-10 fans out there, I'm very sorry, but the DC-10 I just thought was just like, someone who couldn't be bothered to finish off the aircraft, to sort of all just sling the engine on the back of the tail, and yeah, that'll do. And
you see, the DC-10 was far easier to maintain than the L1011 because of that S-duct.
Yeah, I know, but look at the issues that the DC-10 had when it first, was in commercial operation compared to the TriStar.
I mean, the TriStar nearly didn't exist.
True. That was because that was Rolls-Royce's fault, though.
But TriStar's, Lockheed's fault for just having one engine supplier.
Yeah,
ultimately.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think it is a beautiful aircraft, but from an operational perspective, the DC-10 was better, really.
Yeah. David Bone makes a sorry. Go on, Andy.
But the L1011 did introduce a lot of technical innovations that went into modern fly-by-wire systems as well, such as direct lift control, which I think is an awesome system that should be in all aircraft now.
David Bone in the chat room says the TriStar was fantastic, so much prettier than the DC-10. David, that's correct. Correct answer. Bonus.
And also, these aircraft were built at a time when engine reliability, well, let's say, is not as good as it was today. So to have a greater level of redundancy, or especially on the North Atlantic routes, was a lot better, wasn't it? But yeah. So, but no, I have to say, I think the TriStar looks prettier than the DC-10, and I agree with David Bone on that. Yeah, definitely.
Richard Adams is maybe incredibly jealous. He says his first jet flight was on a Bryce TriStar. So that's one of the Royal Air Force Bryce Norton-based TriStars. Yeah, very jealous, Richard. Mind you, I've got a piece of one just sitting over here on the wall. But anyway, right, time for the next part of the show. We've got some interviews that I done a few weeks back on Father's Day at Prairie Farm, and this one is an interview that I done with Thomas Beach. Now, Andy, it'd be interesting to see what your thoughts are on this as well, because Thomas does bring up some quite interesting issues or some sort of steps that he feels are in his way to becoming a commercial airline pilot. So I catch up with Thomas here in the hangar at Prairie Farm, and Thomas, funnily enough, flew in to the day with the Cessna 150 Aerobat from Seething. So we're going to go over to Prairie Farm Airstrip.
Another chat here with Tom. Tom, welcome on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Tom, now you're local here. You've flown in the 150.
Yes,
from Seething.
That's right.
An aircraft that I was lucky enough to go in last year with Andrew Hall, our listener Andrew, on a little jaunt. But Tom, welcome onto the show, and a bit about yourself. How long have you had your PPL?
So I got my PPL back in 2023, nearly nearly 3 years ago, on the 17th of July. And I've been flying every day, or as much as I can do, ever since. I haven't busted the airspace or spread my wings too far yet. So I'm looking forward to getting some more extra time and flying a little bit further afield.
So aviation passion. I mean, for me, started when I was about 5. Massive fan of commercial airliners. But for you, have you got a massive interest in flying and aviation, or did you just want to jump into a 150 and have a jolly?
No, well, I have to thank Mr. Tom Cruise and Top Gun from back in the day. That film captivated me and set me on a wanting to fly, looking to aviation, that's where the passion started, really.
And then you got your PPL, and you're in the club at Seething as well.
Yeah, that's right. So I've been a club member at Seething Airfield since June of 2021. And in October 2021, I had my first lesson.
Wow. And you've flown with good friend of the show, Stuart O'Neill.
I have,
I do believe.
Yes, he was one of my instructors for a couple of flights, yes.
Yes, always good to have Stuart on board with you. He's a lovely chap, bless him.
He's great.
He's really good. But hopefully we'll have Stuart on the show again in some point in a not too distant future. Anyway, you flew in the 150 today, as we said.
I have.
What's it like to fly at the Priory Farm airstrip? Because it's a small grass airstrip here, and I think from what I've heard, crosswinds sometimes can be the problem here. But I think you had a straight.
I had a pretty straight in approach. I don't think I brushed the trees, but I was told I was pretty close. Across the top here. But otherwise, the 150 is very, very given. Very, very forgiving, and it's a lovely aircraft to fly. Certainly into these little shorter fields, it's very manageable. And I've done some practice short field landings with another instructor from Seething, Brian Salter, early in the year, and I was landing on 300 feet with it quite comfortably. So coming in here today was absolutely fine.
Are you flown anything else other than the 150?
The 172, which is the training aircraft at Seething, and so most of my lessons were done in that, and another 150 that was local in this area, which I think might be a little snoring at the moment. G-Fly, I believe.
Oh, G-Fly, yeah.
So I've flown in that a couple of times, and the previous syndicate group that I'm in, they had India Victor, which was another 150 that Mike Page owned in the group, and I've also flew that in my training.
So you've got is it right? I think you've got a part kind of share in the 150 you've got here today.
That's right. Yeah, there's 7 of us in the share, everyone gets on great. It's really, really cheap to fly. It's £80 an hour. And then we have a monthly charge of £60, and which goes towards the hangarage and insurance. But hopefully with the latest member joining, hopefully we'll get some more hours in it, and it'll start paying for itself in the sense of like the maintenance and the fuel that we have charged monthly.
Just out of interest, Tom, what's the time from Seething to here? Because from road, it's probably what? I'll probably say it's at least a good 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah,
to get from here to Seething.
That's right.
In the 150.
I think it'll be about 11 minutes. We had a good tailwind today.
You had a good tailwind, yeah. Honestly, it just makes so much sense. Fly everywhere.
Yes,
it's the best way.
Yes,
it's the best way to do it.
And when it's affordable as the 150, it's brilliant. It's very, very manageable. You can go a long way, see a lot, and have fun.
Now, Tom, we're going to talk about some of the, how do I put this, some of the issues there are that you think are potentially within the industry for people like yourself who want to progress one of the departing aircraft there. Within the industry of people like yourself who want to progress into the commercial airlines, what do you feel are some of the problems?
Yeah, so I've had as I said at the beginning, very keen interest in aviation since watching Top Gun. But what I suffer, I have dyslexia. It's a neurodiverse issue. Something I don't really talk about too much. I'm pretty old school on that. I'm now be 45 this year. Still think there's a bit of stigma around it.
45 is young.
But yeah, I feel there's stigma still around it at my age, but it's getting more approachable. It's interesting looking on LinkedIn and the likes of Richard Branson, and you hear a lot more people. Even Tom Cruise has got it, and you hear a lot more people talking about it. But it's held me back from learning to fly initially, and that approach, because my maths is not too sharp. Everything else is there. And that's always held me back a little bit, thinking, oh, it's something I'll never do. And it's only when I turned 40, speaking to my loved wife Rachel, that she gave me the green light to explore it, and I did it. And I did it. I was really consistent. I did it in COVID as well, which was probably a good thing because it helped me to save the money and afford it, because I wasn't having to travel work. I was working from home, and I had lots of spare cash floating around, as probably a lot of people did, and I hope they did. Back in that time, and I put that money towards learning to fly, got my PPL, and I thought, brilliant, I've now done it. Right, that wasn't that bad. I did all the exams. I only failed navigation. I passed all the PPL exams with either 100 or a real good strong pass mark, and most of the exams. And funny enough, two of my other students who passed, we all passed out at the same time, and we all failed the same exam, interestingly. And I thought, okay, well that's good. And I did all of that, and I think, great, okay. Well, how hard is it to become a commercial pilot? Okay, I've got a young family. I've got 2 boys, got a house, dog. Got all the other responsibilities that come with being an adult. But my only way to get into this path is, getting on a, Speedbird program, a Jet2 program, a TUI program, or an EasyJet program. So I thought, okay, right, I've done it. And so in 2023, I went to, apologies, you're going to have to remind me, to the big event they have in London at Heathrow every year for people who want to be pilots and look about in the industry. So I went down there and listened in some seminars and, put some feelers out. And what I struggle with is that even though I've got my PPL now, and I'm probably a great candidate to be a commercial pilot at my age, just because of maturity, life experience, all of those, weighing up risks and things like that. Is that a good thing to do? Not a good thing to do? I've got all of those, but the problem that comes is that to get on those programs, you have to apply, do the application, right, get through the first hurdle, and then you get to the point, right, you've got to do these aptitude tests. Well, someone like me, an aptitude test is like, right, okay, right, and you're never going to get past it without maybe there are places where you can go and get some teach yourself how to do these things. There's all of these things, but again, still, it doesn't mean that I'm going to pass those initial first tests. But I've got a private pilot license, but you won't even talk to me without getting through these first doors. And I do think, the likes of BA, I think there is very academically biased institutions, that they're not giving the opportunities to people who are very capable of being commercial pilots, but they can't maybe do some of the other things. But mechanically, they can fly the plane. If you tell them to go and do an oil service in a car, I bet you they can do it. And then you got the likes of GCHQ, who will hire people with dyslexia all day long, every day, because of their natural thinking, their processing. So, yeah, so I'm struggling with those issues at the moment. I did have a go at applying for Jet 2 a year ago, but again, just hit that hurdle. You know, I knew I was going to have that second interview or that second stage, so I thought, right, I'll apply myself and go through and find some online material on the aptitude tests and things like that. You think, okay, well, that's not too bad. Maybe my maturity, my age has now come out. You go into it and it's completely different from all the practice tests and all the other things. And it really, really puts you off. And it really frustrates me, because if they just came and talked to me or put me in a plane or did something else, then I think I would excel very, very well in industry. But, you know, but it's very much a tick box exercise. And don't get me wrong, there's safety and there's lots of other things that have to be considered in all of that program. But yeah, people learn, people, you know, adapt. And I'm sure with modern avionics and things like that, it's all done by computers. No one's writing a English essay at 35,000 feet requiring a grade B. Can you talk on the radio? Can you be coherent? Yes, I can. And that's my problem. But I understand that they have to weed those individuals out to make sure they do get the right caliber of people. But it's frustrating for someone like me who just on the cusp.
you wanna do it. You know yourself that you can do it. You can push yourself to do something like that. And it is frustrating. It's not just within aviation.
Yeah.
There's jobs, you know, I look all the time. There's jobs online which I personally know that I know that I could do, but because you look down on the criteria and it says, have you got, you know, so many years experience of this, and this, which I probably haven't, but I know I can do the job.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
because you don't fit that criteria,
Yeah.
you're overlooked for that particular position.
That's right. And I've gone out my way. Don't get me wrong. When I left high school in 1997, the exams were, you know, I wasn't ready. I was way immature for the exam. I'm seeing it now with my son. Both my son and one of them here is today. They have dyslexia, and James wants to be a fast jet pilot. But you know, in reality, that's going to be a very uphill struggle for him. But since leaving school and since a few different career changes, in recent years, and going into aviation, I have done over 20 exams, either in my in my work or in flying. And and I'm afraid I wasn't able to complete this one this year, just due to other work commitments, because I work in the maritime industry. Previous years, I've redone my GCSE Maths and I've done my GCSE English. Both I've got a grade C in. Beforehand, not going to lie, I've got a G in Maths and I've got an F in English.
You've done better than me.
And I've now resit those and I've applied myself. And I do think that's with maturity and age and things like that. But I am still working towards those goals. Afraid I wasn't able to do my physics this year because of, again, as work commitments, but I was doing physics, teaching myself how to do physics, doing that so I can align myself even better when I feel ready to have another go at applying within these Jet 2, whatever they may be, opportunities that arise. So I am still actively trying to, but I know that there's just hurdles that I just can't overcome.
I think, Tom, do you know what, you're right and exactly right what you're saying, but I think you have to look at it from the perspective that you're doing now what a lot of my friends and myself, because I would love to get back and complete my PPL. You're doing something that a lot of people would love to do. You can go out to sea. I think you can jump in the 150. You can take your sons out,
yes,
flying, and give them that experience, which not every dad can do.
No,
which is, you know, hats off to you, because that is a hell of an achievement in itself.
I totally
to do that. And you know, I have nothing but respect for you in that regard, because it's incredible thing having the PPL, being able to go out and fly over some great scenery here in East Anglia where we are here. And I'm pretty confident you've probably flown over my house in Ersham a number of times. But yeah, you have achieved something big. You can fly a plane.
I have, yes,
on your own.
Yeah, and I'm very grateful that I can do it, and I've applied myself to do it. And don't I want no one to take away that I am feeling ungrateful or anything like that, because I am. It's a great experience. I have achieved it. If I stop now, done it. It's a tick box. But there's something that's twitched in my head in recent years. Hold on, I can do this now. I can just push it a little bit further. But yeah, I'm just fighting a removable wall, which is sort of like, yeah, I'm kind of tantalizingly close, but yeah, there's still a hurdle to get over. But yeah, it's great. I'm flying over East Anglia. Yesterday I was flying with Mike Page, and we're up in the clouds doing over Felixstowe, and it's great. You know, we even had to, get on VFR on top. Like day yesterday was fantastic, smooth as silk. And yeah,
and because you're obviously based at Seething, and it is a fantastic club.
Yes,
Seething. The airfield is amazing.
Yes, a great community spirit.
It still blows my mind when I go to Seething in the hangar with that massive rotating platform they've got in there with the air. I think it's just one of the best things you could ever see.
Oh yeah,
an airfield where you can just press a button on the wall and your aircraft moves around. It's fantastic.
It is great. I'm lucky enough that. Golf Zulu is in hangar number 1, so I haven't got far from the clubhouse to walk.
So, looking forward to the future. You're going to keep trying.
Keep trying. I will keep trying. Good. Obviously, I've got age against me, and the way I look at it, if I had the money, it would buy me time, but time's running out. So, yeah, it's like without winning the lottery, I have no other avenues to fast track it. But yeah, I still will have a go when the opportunities arise, and I will go back next year and do my physics to align myself better. Yeah.
Any particular favourite aircraft, Tom, that you like flying? Obviously, you've flown the 150, the 172. Have you flown a PA-28?
No.
Any low wing?
No low wing.
No low wing.
No, none. All high wing aircraft, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Favourite being the Aerobat?
Oh yes, yeah. Oh, so easy to fly, very forgiving. Where the 172, you can feel it like when you're turning into on final, feel the weight of it, and you're thinking, okay, you're very cool with that. With the 150, it's just tip it in. Like riding a motorbike.
Oh, brilliant. Question for you then, we'll start to wrap up, Tom. But so you're given a chance now to go and fly anything you like, any aircraft. You can go out there now. Obviously, with the short airfield here, it's probably not going to be something big. But anyway, pretend the airfield is as long as it could be. Commercial GA, military, retired, still flying. What would you love to go and have a jolly round?
Hurricane.
Strip on a Hurricane.
Yes.
Okay.
A Hurricane. Yeah. I just think they I know everyone goes to the Spitfire or the P-51, but the Hurricane, I've always liked the Hurricane. There's just something about it that's always, it's that half wood, half cotton, and it always amazed me how agile that was in the sky.
You need to go make some friends at Duxford.
Yes,
I think.
Yes.
Meet up with the right people.
Yes,
because Spitfire flights, as we know, $3,500.
I know. Yeah, not cheap. No.
But, no. Yeah. It takes money out of you being able to go and take the 150 out as well.
That's right. But when I flew James to Duxford a year or two ago, we came in behind a Spitfire. We got told off, there's a Spitfire coming, can you wait? And that was what a great privilege to fly behind one of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should ask to fly in formation. That would be quite
well,
nice.
That would be great. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Tom, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Lovely to have you on here, and definitely look for any of our pilot listeners to reach out with perhaps some advice or help for Tom in his progression, I'd say, which we hope you will do in the future.
I hope.
So thanks, Tom, for coming on.
Thank you.
Lovely to speak to you.
Lovely.
And enjoy the rest of the day here at Priory Farm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
And thanks to Tom for having a chat with us there, and also for bringing in the 150 Aerobat from Seething. It was good to see that again. I enjoyed my flight in that last year with Andrew Hall. And thoughts, Andy?
Yes. What, on getting into commercial aviation? Yeah, it's I feel for Tom there. It's a very different game from PPL flying, which is why when you're going for these cadet programs where the airline's going to sort of cover you for most stuff, they really want to be able to see you can get through the aptitude test. Why the aptitude test there? Light aircraft to high performance jets, multi-crew environment, flying in and out of busy international airports. They need to know that you've got the aptitude to do that stuff, which is what those tests are there for. So, and as he said, it is something you can practice and have a go at. A lot of it is intuitive, and you can do it or you can't. But I think you should keep pushing on and keep trying, because he says he's only 40. I'm 40. I've got another 25 years in this game. So yeah, give it another go. Have another try.
There we go, Thomas. You heard. Keep trying, and keep flying. As I said in that video, remember that you got your PPL, and he has got young children as well, Andy. So I know his son was quite happy the fact that his dad is a pilot, which is quite a good thing.
And that's an awesome thing to do, to get your PPL, especially when you've got busy family life, etc. See, I'm very lucky. When I did all my training, I didn't have all of those worries. I was 24 when I did it all, 25. So it does get tricky when life gets in the way. But if the dream is powerful enough, you'll find a way.
Yeah, there we go. More interviews to come from Priory Farm next week on the show. But moving on with the show. Nev, what's up next?
Yes, it's my favourite part of the show. It's the military segment.
What's up, Bogies 13550, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 100 St. Bogies.
And Nev, you've got the first story this week.
Yes, this is on dvidshub.net. It says that US Southern Command continues to surge US military capabilities to Venezuela in support of ongoing US earthquake relief efforts requested by the Venezuelan government and led by the State Department. Did you see some of the shots from Venezuela this week? Absolutely horrific, that devastation's caused that earthquake. 2 US Air Force C-17 Glowmasters are transporting US urban search and rescue teams based in Los Angeles and Fairfax, Virginia, and 1 US Air Force C-17 will deliver load movement equipment to Caracas. US Marine Corps MV-22 Ospreys will transport an airfield assessment team to Venezuela to support airport operations that were impacted near the earthquake epicenter. The US Navy's San Antonio class amphibious transport dock USS Fort Lauderdale and Freedom variant littoral combat ship USS Billings have arrived in waters near Venezuela and will begin supporting relief and life-saving efforts. 3 US Army CH-47 Chinooks and crews from Joint Task Force Bravo will depart Soto Cano Airport Base in Honduras, en route to support the transport of key personnel and supplies aiding impacted Venezuelan communities. The command's US Space Force component is providing satellite imagery of devastated areas to disaster relief planners in Venezuela to aid them in assessing where immediate life-saving and aid efforts are needed most and identifying what capabilities are required to prioritize. Updated information on the surge will be posted on US Southern Command's official social media accounts. Planning of additional US military support is ongoing in close coordination with the US State Department, the Venezuelan government, and other partners and allies, contributing defense capabilities to the ongoing international relief effort, and will be announced once confirmed. It almost doesn't matter how much they send, doesn't it? It will never be enough. The death toll has rocketed in the last few days. Absolutely tragic.
Yeah, it really doesn't have to. It was a double earthquake as well. It's just the chances, and it's awful. Yeah. My thoughts to everybody there.
Yeah, it's very sad times indeed. The videos were awful online. Moving on to the next story. This one is slightly cooler climb. The Arctic's melting runways that are becoming too thin. Andy, you've got this one.
Yes, new research suggests frozen Arctic lakes are becoming less able to support heavy aircraft, forcing military planners to rethink how they move people, equipment, and supplies across the polar regions. Across northern Alaska, Canada, Greenland, and Antarctica, frozen lakes, sea ice, and compacted snowfields have served as temporary runways, allowing aircraft to reach places where roads do not exist and permanent airfields often hundreds of miles away. Military forces, scientific expeditions, and remote communities have all depended on these seasonal landing sites to move people, fuel, equipment, and supplies across some of the most inaccessible terrain on Earth. New research from the University of Alaska Fairbanks, however, suggests that one of the Arctic's most important pieces of infrastructure may be slowly disappearing. Scientists studying Teshekpuk Lake on Alaska's North Slope found that warmer winters and changing snowfall patterns are reducing ice thickness below the levels traditionally required to support heavy military aircraft. The study's central conclusion is straightforward. Ice that once reliably thickened enough to support large ski-equipped cargo aircraft increasingly struggles to reach that threshold. For aviation operators in the high north, that presents a problem with few obvious solutions. Unlike most parts of the world, Arctic aviation has never depended solely on conventional airports. Seasonal ice runways have long provided an alternative. During winter, aircraft can land directly on prepared ice surfaces, dramatically expanding access to isolated locations. Among the aircraft suited to this environment is the LC-130 Skibird, the ski-equipped version of the Lockheed Martin C-130 Hercules. Operated primarily by the New York Air National Guard's 109th Airlift Wing, the aircraft is the world's only heavy airlift capable of routinely landing on snow and ice. Its retractable skis allow it to operate from surfaces that will be inaccessible to conventional aircraft. The type has become indispensable for operations in Greenland and Antarctica, transporting everything from scientific equipment and fuel to construction materials and personnel. Canada's Royal Canadian Air Force relies on a different approach. Its CC-138 Twin Otter fleet routinely operate from remote Arctic locations where conventional aviation infrastructure is absent. Landing on sea ice remains a normal part of Arctic flying. Before establishing temporary landing sites, crew physically inspect ice conditions. In some cases, a flight engineer will disembark while the aircraft remains running and drill into the ice using an auger to verify thickness measurements and confirm the surface can safely support operations. For decades, military planners have used a minimum thickness of 55 inches as the benchmark for supporting LC-130 operations. According to the researchers, that threshold is becoming progressively harder to achieve, and the reason is not simply rising temperatures. Jones noted that Arctic winters now frequently bring heavier snowfall than in previous decades. We tend to have more winter snowfall now than we used to, so there's more of an insulating blanket on the lake ice, he said. That keeps it from attaining the critical threshold of 55 inches for landing military cargo aircraft. To understand the trend, researchers collected more than 25,000 measurements of ice thicknesses and snow depth, conducted radar surveys, and installed monitoring equipment linked to satellites. They then compared the results with historical records from across North Alaska. Their conclusion was stark. Some lakes may no longer reliably achieve the thickness required for heavy aircraft operations. The study warns that changing ice conditions could affect Arctic logistics, emergency response, military mobility, and scientific research throughout the region. Operating in the Arctic, however, remains fundamentally a logistical challenge. Moving personnel and equipment across vast distance requires aircraft capable of reaching locations where roads, ports, and conventional runways are often unavailable. That is why frozen lakes and sea ice landing areas have remained strategically important. We don't have HC-130s as an option. The ice isn't long and smooth enough or thick enough for that, so we have to use smaller aircraft, he said. That imposes a big constraint on what we can do. That highlights the value of lake ice in a must-land situation, provided it's thick enough for heavy aircraft operations. The author reaches a clear conclusion. None of the concepts currently meet the standards required to be considered responsible or practical responses to climate-related risks in the polar regions. For Arctic aviation operations, the message is simple. Technology fixes capable of preserving ice runways at a scale remain speculative. Adaptation may prove more realistic than intervention. So long and short of it is they run out of places to land aircraft.
And also,
in these very remote
all that
places.
sort of flying is extremely challenging. One of my customers back in the day was the British Antarctic Survey in Cambridge. And these days they're running Twin Otters and Dash 7 aircraft as well. And I happened to be there on one of the days when one of the pilots was telling me how challenging that kind of flying is. And I mean, your options are very limited, aren't they? If you need to, divert, or you end up with a technical problem.
Yeah, I can't imagine how they plan these operations. As it says, it's a logistical nightmare, but it's so vital to the communities in these areas.
It still blows my mind they land something like the C-17 on ice. Something that weighs that much. Absolutely crazy. Right. That is the military segment done for this week. And we are going to start to wrap up the show. It's coming up towards the top of the hour again. Nev, social media links for everyone?
Yes, Facebook, X, Instagram, or LinkedIn. We're on all those platforms. Just search those platforms for Plane Talking UK. You can email the show, podcast@planetalkinguk.com. And if you'd like to join the PTUK chat room, which is extremely active today, please do send me an email to podcast@planetalkinguk.com with your preferred WhatsApp number, and I will add you into it. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get notifications when we go live, and you can help shape the conversation of the show by joining us in the chat room. Just go to youtube.com and search for Plane Talking UK. I should have said also that our own WhatsApp number is +44 7446 975 214 if you'd like to send us information or stories or whatever you like. You can also become a Patreon of the show. We mentioned that right at the top of the show. We do have running costs for the show, so if you're able to help us, you can donate us some money by Patreon or PayPal. Just go to the Plane Talking UK website, planetalkinguk.com, and there is a tab on the top right which says support us. So thank you very much indeed.
There we go. All right, going to do a quick round robin, what everyone's up to this week, Nev?
Nothing too major. It's Keep Fit tomorrow. I haven't been for a couple of weeks, so that's going to be difficult. Then next week, I shan't be on the show next week. Mrs. Nev and I are taking a couple of days up into the northwest of England to the Lake District. And as it's going to be another scorcher in the south, it would be nice to go somewhere a little bit cooler. So that will be a nice couple of days trip next week. So I shan't be on the show next week, unfortunately.
Well, have a good trip, Nev. Enjoy it. Rest and relax. Nick, how about you?
Well, Carlos, I know that you are a big fan of my my 90s curtains, but I have decided that unfortunately it's time to have a bit of a trim. So I'm going to hairdressers. Yeah, it's going to be neatened up, and hopefully it might take a few years off me, because that would be helpful.
Bless you. Well, have fun with the cut, Nick. Yeah, they'll definitely have to get the brush and dustpan out when you trim that lot off.
Yeah, I'll be able to stuff a few pillows, I reckon.
Yeah.
Get their money's worth.
Andy, how about you?
Quiet-ish weekend, and I'm down in Gatwick next week, so I'll be in the Gatwick studio before I head off on holiday. And also, let me just add, it'll be remiss of me not to say this, Matt, if you are listening, we will miss you. It's been great working with you, mate, and all the best in the future.
Yes, very much so. And you will be missed. And yes, we have to say a big thanks, as we always do, to all the chat room for joining us this week. Thank you for tuning in. And also, don't forget as well, everyone who downloads the show as an audio podcast, thanks for downloading us each week and listening to us wherever you are across the globe. Thank you very much. Right, Nev, I'll leave you to sign off and say goodbye, everyone.
Yes, hope everybody has a nice week and the weekend, and we'll all be back. They will be back at 7 o'clock UK time next Wednesday. In the meantime, bye for now.
Hey guys, no real easy way for me to say this. I'll just get on with it. After almost 12 incredible years, it's time for me to say goodbye. This podcast has been such a meaningful part of my life, and I'm deeply grateful for every conversation, every laugh, and every single person who has listened, supported, and shared this incredible show. It's been a privilege to be part of something that's grown and changed over so many years, and I'll always carry those memories with me. So, for the final time, family show, ladies and gentlemen. Family show.
There we go.
Very good. That was nice to see Matt after his flight in Al's PA-28, wasn't that?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a few years ago. That was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never did get him to do a skydive.
No.
Oh, well, maybe we can tie that in with the Ryanair flight, Nev.
Yeah, perhaps Nev should do a skydive now.
No, so the line's breaking up. I can't hear you.
So are you going through a tunnel?
Yeah.
That's the real reason why Nev's going away next week, because he's got one planned. Little old tandem, Nev.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, I'm missing the flying a little bit. I must do some flying. That's I've not been on an aircraft for, gosh, nearly a year, I would say. Wow. Amazing, isn't it?
Just wondering where our kind of meet in the middle airport would be that we could both fly on Ryanair together, Nev.
Probably Bristol.
Yeah, that's a bit of a trot for you, though, isn't it?
It's not. It's only a couple of hours. So, yeah.
Yeah. Where do you fancy going?
Bristol.
Could we fly Bristol to Carlisle International Airport?
Oh, London Norwich.
Oh yeah, come on, London Norwich. Experience the thrill of coming into the arrivals shed.
Oh, I should be having that in Exeter in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh yeah,
a couple of porter cabins bolted together.
Do you know, I remember when Belfast City Airport was a bit like that back in, the mid-80s, wasn't it? I flew on a Loganair Shorts 360 from Edinburgh to Belfast City. It was the bumpiest ride I'd ever been on. And the city airport arrival facilities were a little basic, shall we say.
Oh, Darren Smith says we need to fly to Oslo and he'll buy us a beer. So there we go.
Well, I hope he can afford it, because
that's quite a commitment.
It is.
That's 2 beers he's got to buy. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, you hope you can save up for that. Yeah.
There we go. Well, that's that sorted. Well, we're both quite fond of Scandinavia, aren't we, Nev? So.
Oh yes, we do like it. Yeah.
A field trip. Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, the trouble is, London Norwich, you've only got the choice of 3 destinations with Ryanair: Portugal, Malta, and I forgot what the other one is now. Alicante.
Oh yes. Okay.
Mm.
Well, all of those will be okay, I think.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say, probably the scariest landing that I've ever done in a commercial airliner was with Ryanair into Bergerac Airport with my dad a few years back.
Oh, that's a bit short on runway length, isn't it? I seem to remember.
Yeah. It reminded me, Nev, of that trip me and you took to Jersey.
I remember it was the takeoff actually from Edinburgh going to Belfast City on this Shorts 360. The crosswind on the takeoff was just unbelievable, and the moment the main landing gear left the ground, you could almost see the remaining amount of runway left out of your left-hand window. That's how much crap was going on.
It is quite literally like putting a barn door into the airflow, though, with a straight down sides of a Shorts aircraft.
Yeah, it's got the aerodynamics of a brick, isn't it?
Yeah. A brick with a pointy end, essentially.
Oh,
yeah.
brilliant. What a classic. Yeah. But of course, back in the
Yes, I've
day,
seen
I mean,
that.
those were the stalwarts. The 330s and the 360s were the stalwarts of Loganair's regional operations in Scotland and Northern Ireland, weren't they? So, yeah.
And Gill Airways as well had
That's
plenty of them up here.
Yeah. God, yeah. Well, they Newcastle based, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Gosh, nice.
Before they got their very technologically advanced ATRs, yes.
What's the shortest runway you've flown into, Andy, with a 320?
Jersey's quite short. Where's shorter? French place. I'm really narrowing it down here. French place, just south of Bordeaux. Oh, what's it called? On the coast. La Rochelle. La Rochelle. That's no, not La Rochelle. That's further up. Oh, it'll come to me.
San Sebastian. Not that far.
San Sebastian's further down.
Skiathos, Darren Smith is saying.
Skiathos is another one. I mean, there's all the Greek islands are. How should we say it? Interesting. But in terms of short, I mean, Cambridge was looked relatively short, flying into there in a 20.
You flew to Cambridge?
Obviously.
What are Cambridge?
Yeah.
Oh.
Several times I've flown to Cambridge. We used to take aircraft there to have gear replaced.
Oh, okay. Was that Marshalls?
Yeah. Biarritz, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's how you meant, yeah.
Yeah.
Biarritz
just around the
is
corner from San Sebastian.
It is, yeah. That's quite a short runway.
Did you say Biarritz? Is that what you need after you've landed?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, landing on short runways and taking off them we wouldn't go there if we didn't have the performance. So it's not really the end of the world.
Do those tend to be captains only sectors?
Some of them do. Jersey in our airline is definitely captains only. A lot of the trickier ones are captains only. But yeah, like places like Santorini's a bit of a pain. Mykonos, Skiathos, Herakleon's not too bad. The runway is long enough, but it's like a roller coaster, and the approach is incredibly strange because it doesn't have an ILS.
I'm just looking at Biarritz. That runway is 1.4 miles long.
Yeah, it's quite short.
Is it? That seems like quite a lot to me.
Not when you're travelling at 140 knots.
A runway at Heathrow is about 3 miles long.
Yeah, it's over 12,000 feet at Heathrow, isn't it? So yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
I think the other thing is, especially with some of those, I would imagine some of those Greek islands, there must be performance limitations on takeoff and also the time of day that you can depart to. I would guess
can make a big difference. There's lots of limited, and most of them have only got 3 or 4 parking spaces as well. And when you've got BA, us, Ryanair, Jet2, everybody wanting to go in there at the same time of day, it can get congested and lots of slots. It's a bit of a pain.
Grinner's back in the chat room. Mentions Biarritz, Jersey, Ronaldsway Airport in the Isle of Man as well.
Oh, of course, Isle of Man as well. Yeah, I've flown there plenty of times. That's another favourite. I always seem to end up going there in the middle of winter when it's blowing a hoolie. I never see it in the summer when it's nice.
Isn't it funny? I've been to so many places around the world. I have never been to the Isle of Man yet. I must do that one these days.
Right, we better let our listeners get
a bit of tarmac at the end of the day.
Get back to their Wednesday. And hopefully it'll be a bit cooler next week, but probably not.
No, it's getting warmer again.
Yeah.
Right, I'll leave you to sign off, Nev.
Yes, thanks for your great contributions, folks, in the chat room. Very entertaining as always. As I say, if you want to join the PTUK chat room, if you've got nothing to do with the rest of your life, just send me an email to podcast@planetalkinguk and I'll add you to the chat. In the meantime, hope you have a great weekend coming up, and the rest of next week. See you next week. All the best. Bye bye.